Jamie, what's up? I'm sorry. Late lunch, I'm all over the place. I'm just trying to play catch up. Give me one sec. Okay, monthly check-ins, everyone's favorite, right? No, trust me, these are just as annoying for us as they are for you guys. It's just nothing but paperwork that doesn't get anything accomplished. But who gives a shit about efficiency, right? Oh wait, before we start, how's your stomach? Are you feeling okay? Okay, good. By the way, I saw you responding to Tom and Michelle while you're out. Do not do that. No, I don't expect you to work while you're out sick. Are you insane?
Comedy TikToker Rob, he goes by RobDon567, went viral for the video that you just watched. And it's all about what it's like to work for a millennial manager. Now, before we discuss the response to the video, which was mixed, let's watch more of it.
Also, you don't have to use your personal time when you go to pick up Charlie from daycare. No, I'm not gonna fault you for being a good mom who picks up her kid, okay? Just tell me beforehand, and that way I could block you out, or I'll just tell them you're working on something for me. Besides, I run errands all the time. I don't use my personal time. Yeah, I'm not gonna ask you guys to do something that I wouldn't do. That's so stupid. Okay, but you're just working on the Fisher account right now, right? All right, you're good? You're not overwhelmed or anything? Your bandwidth's good? Okay, good. If it is, just let me know. I'll offload some stuff, and I'll give it to Roger. But you're on track, right? Okay, good, perfect. I could just tell Lundberg. No, I don't care. As long as you get it done on time, I don't give a Oh, no, Jason sent something. Yeah, he just sent me one of his memes on Teams. I'll forward it to you. All right, James, I got to run. That's it for now. You're good though, right? All right, anything else, just email me.
So that racked up millions of views, a ton of comments, some positive, some not so positive. But before we get to all of that, John, just based on what he said there, I mean, you're a millennial. What do you think about that style of management? Do you think that it's positive? Do you think it could potentially be destructive? What do you think?
Well, I feel personally attacked, and I think that my identity has been stolen. So, anyone can be a victim of it. Take it seriously, people. Anyway, I don't especially understand, and feel free to let me know what about millennials that is. That seems like a kind of remote sort of management style that tries to be a little bit more understanding of people's like mental wellness, I guess. I do try to do that. So get out of my meetings, Rob. But
we work
yeah, I don't know.
It's a little different.
Is it that bad?
It is. I think that we are in a bubble, and I think that others deal with a management style that we are not necessarily accustomed to.
Yeah, but we're talking about that management style.
We are.
So what's the downside of that management style compared to others? I mean, I can understand how it could be a little bit annoying and certainly stereotypical, but it doesn't seem that bad as long as it's authentic. If that guy is then like if he had ended that sketch by like the guy thinking that he ended the call and then he's like talking crap about his workers, or if he's saying the same things to Roger, the guy who's offloading all the work to, then there would be like a bit of dishonesty to it. But just being more like caring about the mental wellness of workers, I don't think that's the worst thing.
To me, the difference, the distinction is the micromanager and what you just witnessed in the video that we played, right? Because he was clear about how as long as you get the job done on time, as long as you meet the deadline, I don't care. And I 1000% subscribe to that kind of mentality. I don't want to be micromanaging anyone, okay? You want to walk your dog in the middle of the workday? Walk your dog in the middle of the workday. You know what your assigned stories are. You know when the deadline is. Do you, boo? But I'm not interested in like knowing what you're up to every 10 minutes, okay? I just, because you know what that ends up doing? That ends up instilling this idea, and I think this is actually the right idea, this is the truth, that your manager doesn't trust you to do your job. That they need to like lord over you and micromanage you and make your life miserable to the point where you're racked with anxiety because they don't trust you. They need to make sure that you're doing your job. The proof is in the pudding, okay? What is the outcome? What did the employee produce? In our case, literally produce. And so look, the other thing is, when you show trust and respect to your team, more often than not, you're gonna get that in return. But if you're engaging in a management style that makes them feel like they're not being trusted or not being respected, And by the way, or that their mental health or whatever they're going through, because we all go through stuff, that all of that stuff doesn't matter. All that matters is that they're working. They're not gonna enjoy their job, and they're not gonna be fun to work with either, right? You don't want to work on a team with miserable people. So don't make them miserable. And obviously this doesn't mean that there shouldn't be any accountability. Like, I just think there's a difference, right? And the difference is the micromanaging or being a little more understanding, enhancing communication, and ensuring that the final product is good. And if it's not good, then you work with teammates, right? To tweak things and find a way to improve. I love this management style. I'm for it. I'm not against it. I'm sorry. Anyone who's like, me, they're the micromanagers. And maybe you need to shut the fuck up, okay? Get off our ass about bullshit. How about that?
Damn.
I can't stand micromanaging. I can't stand it. It drives me insane. Insane, absolutely insane. It makes me angry, like very angry.
Does it?
Listen, you got a manager in the room. A manager just joined the chat. A millennial manager just jumped in the chat, and I will tell you what grinds my gears is these Zoomers who worked their ass off and didn't learn anything from millennials. What the millennials did was just make it. We tried to make it so we don't have to do anything, so that we had the boomers ahead of us or the Gen Xers who were like, I don't even know how they messed everything up. But then we showed up and we were like, I don't want to do it. Leave me to my avocado toast. And then we just got too old and too annoying to fire.
No,
and we
not,
no
that
because
was not my experience.
And then we got into management positions, and then these Zoomers are just like they're overstimulated, and they just have this bandwidth and all these stupid skills coming out their ears. And so we just basically are like, all right, you do it then, not me. Just kidding. Here's my actual take on this, is that everybody hates their manager at some point or another because their manager asked them to do stuff.
Yep.
And so
100%.
what you are looking for, I think there's a lot of it. At a certain point, you're just like, oh my God. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. It relies on mutual respect, but all this guy was doing was just kind of the one thing that he like zones in on is like when you're dealing with someone who knows what memes are, and he just kind of worked on that. Like that's pretty much his only joke. But like there was nothing tangibly wrong with him, and I agree with you 100%. Sorry, I had to jump in, but it's like, yeah, there's so many people that I had a manager, of my first job who was a Gen Xer who would just sit there like this, and he was great, but he'd be like, "Is it?" Every idea I had, he'd just be like, "Is it that?" And he'd take his pen and he would throw it up and be like, "Is it?" And there was one time where my friend who was a writer and I were just like, I think whatever we do, he'll say, "Is it?" and then insert that. So we wrote this line was just "F you, Choco Taco," and we were hoping that our boss would go, "But is it F you, Choco Taco?" And he absolutely did, and it was fantastic.
I kind of love him. He sounds fun. He sounds great. Yeah.
Anyways, sorry to jam in there, but it's hard to be a manager, especially if like all the stigma around it.
Yeah.
That's all I gotta say.
But the stigma.
Thank you.
No, stay, John. Stay, Brett. Because is the stigma unwarranted?
Here's my actual take on it. Is like there are people who are managers who just kind of lied their way, are really good at communicating to the people above them that they're busy, and then they get the people below them to do everything.
Oh, those are the worst.
That's useless. What I've noticed as a manager is like I've had to. My biggest challenge is not doing everything for like every single thing. I felt bad when I asked them to do things.
Yep.
So then I isolate certain difficult tasks. Like I totally get that part where he's like, I'm not going to ask you to do something I don't know how to do. I feel there's a fine line between like I don't want to ask you to, I don't want to do it for you because I feel guilty, and then I do want you to do it because you're better at it than me. That's like specialized tasks. Like, and I think that's the key about like, and if you notice people around TYT, they have different like things that they do because they're stronger at certain things. And so these little mini tasks they're better at, and they get kind of tasked with them as we develop every other kind of skill around it. But
yeah, so I'm not in management at TYT, like that's not my role, but as EP, I kind of manage my team, right? And I have control issues. Like it's not any like, and when I say control issues, I mean in regard to the stories produced in a certain way, certain stories produced in a certain way. And so as a result, I'll take on more production work than I probably should. But then there's also the other thing where it's like, I know what it's like to be so burnt out, and being burnt out obviously impacts morale. And I don't want anyone on my team to go through that. And so I will preemptively do things to ensure that they're not being burnt out. You get what I'm saying? And so like, I'd rather be a little more tired than like force more work onto members of my team. And I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. What I do know is that we work really well together, and we put together a 2.5-hour show every day. It's a monster of a task, and they do a freaking fantastic job doing it. So I think I'm managing things really great. I think I'm knocking it out of the park.
You're killing it. I think
I'm killing. Brett, you better tell me.
This is a great opportunity to tell you guys that I sent like a goals framework to all of your producers, and I'll be meeting with you guys to kind of go through it. And it's not even a joke. That's really what's going to happen to connect our goals to our objectives, so we can keep the lights on here at TYT. Thank you to everybody who's a member, by the way. Why don't you evangelize and make more people members? I think that's a really cool thing.
That would be nice.
That's it.
That would be nice.
Thank you, Brett.
It might, lift a little bit of that burnt outness from me if you guys become members. But by the way, everyone who's watching this at this moment is a member. So thank you for being members. You guys are amazing. Okay, so just because I promised, there were some people who were in favor of that video and that form of management. Imani writes that I relate to this video so bad, the way I will tell my Gen Z coworkers not to struggle and suffer just because people before them did. There's so much useless anxiety that's caused by people who are on a power trip. I totally agree with that, but others had a different perspective. These types of managers are the worst. They create a false sense of warmth and niceness and put yourself at ease type of vibe. And if you fall for it, they'll literally stab you in the back when you'll least expect it. Be very wary of them. They are as sneaky as they come. I don't think that's true of everyone, not even close. I'm not like, I don't think I'm looking to stab anyone in the back. I just like respecting other people. And by the way, life happens. It takes so long to produce this show. Like the idea that you're not able to step away from your computer to take care of life is ridiculous. So I'm very understanding about that. Besides which, I step away from the computer in the middle of the day to go bird watching sometimes. And so I don't want anyone on my ass about that. I'm gonna keep going bird watching, if time permits. As long as the show is ready on time and as long as we've done quality work, I'm happy. Demetrius Jones says, as a former supervisor, be careful with these types. Many are not comfortable delivering uncomfortable news / coaching because they want to be seen as the cool, laid back boss. I think there's a little bit of truth to this. Personally, I don't care about being perceived as the cool person, but I do have a hard time asking people to do things sometimes, and I need to improve in that area. I
think that video is not an attack on you.
I think it's definitely an attack on me, okay?
Look, both of us manage people, not a ton of people or whatever, just our team or whatever. And both of us are millennials, so I think it's natural to feel attacked. I did. I still feel a little bit angry and I want to punch something. But I try to bear in mind that like doing a video that sort of satirizes a thing doesn't mean that you think that thing is worse than every other kind of thing.
Right.
It's just that, as Brett said, it's still your manager, it's still your boss. Like, it kind of reminds me of like how Michael Scott wasn't content to just be the boss of his employees. He had to feel like, no, I'm the cool one.
Yes.
And we're all friends, maybe to some extent. But at the end of the day, they're still your employees or whatever. So like they get to make memes about you like they did to Andy also in The Office. All of my comparisons will come from The Office. That doesn't mean they hate him. It's just a part of the thing.
They
So
should
I
have
don't
hated
mind it.
Andy,
/
though.
I'm still shivering with anger.
They should have totally. Andy was the worst. Like, he was the most annoying character on The Office. I couldn't stand him. Okay, I couldn't stand his stupid singing spells and I'm from Cornell and I know how to do music. Like, shut the fuck up. Like, no one wants to hear your dumb ass sing. I could not
so
stand
mad
Andy.
today.
And then as soon as Andy was made manager, he was like the worst kind of manager. He was so cruel, so mean, awful. I hated Andy. Everyone should hate Andy. And if you don't hate Andy, I don't respect you. Okay. By the way, here's my team. They're beautiful and I love them. Okay, let's take a look at the picture. Come on, let's put it up. Let's put it up.
Oh,
They're so wonderful. So from the left to right, you have Kate Bettino, you have me and Cenk, and then Alyssa Salmons and Taylor Ellis. These are the wonderful people behind the show. So
awesome. And obviously, like the production side, there's a lot of people who make sure
Yes.
that all the tech works, the directing, stage, and editing, and graphics, and everything. But
very true,
and
yeah.
publishing,
But that's my team that I work with very closely
100%.
every day.
Hey, thanks for watching that video. We really appreciate it, guys. And we appreciate it if you become members because that allows us to be independent, honest, progressive, all the things that you don't get from corporate media. And all of that is because of you guys. Hit the join button below and become one of us. Become a Young Turk.